U.S. basketball teams are making their case for a bid into the NCAA tournament.
And UNCG says they deserve a spot, too.
We definitely deserve a bid.
Guilford County Sheriff Danny Rogers hits 100 days in office.
I am proud to be your sheriff and will continue to work hard.
What he's done so far and his first big controversy.
North Carolina Senator Thom Tillis changes his mind. He said he'd vote against President Trump's national emergency declaration. Why that flipped at the last second.
And don't mess with these moms.
I feel the need, to do something about this.
Meet the group committed to busting child predators. The late edition of WFMY News 2 starts right now.
Another battle of the Blues is set, this time in the ACC tournament. UNC and Duke both won tonight and advanced to the semifinals.
A return by Zion Williamson helped Duke's mentality, and he delivered on the hype. WFMY News 2's Luke Liddon has more.
So you all know this guy, right? Even if you don't like basketball, I'm pretty sure you know who this is. Zion Williamson. We've talked about his bizarre injury over and over again for more than 3 weeks. Everyone afterwards saying he needs to sit out to avoid another injury. He can't hurt his draft stock. But Coach K, you seem to know Zion pretty well. What do you think?
We didn't believe any of that. We believe him. And so you change somewhat, but you can't just do a wholesale change if you know the guy is coming back.
And hey, he is making his return to the court for the first time since February 20th. And he heard all the side comments about what he should do, but he finally put that to rest.
For the people that think I should just stop playing in college and just focus on the NBA, thanks, but no thanks. I'm not really worried about that. I'm just trying to be Zion and just play the game I love.
And now the moment Duke fans have waited for, stepping back on the court, warming up to play once again. Our very own Patrick Wright is live down in Charlotte and saw firsthand the freshman's return to the court.
Well, Zion Williamson's return to the court was all the talk here in Charlotte today, and all the hype paid off from the very beginning. Listen to this. Zion Williamson was 9 for 9 from the field, scored 21 points, had 9 rebounds and 5 steals in just the first half, and he continued to roll throughout the game, finishing perfect from the field, 13 for 13 with 29 points and 14 rebounds. So if you're wondering if he'd lost a step because of that knee, well, think again. Duke moving on to the semifinals to take on UNC. We'll have much more on this later on in sports.
A lot of eyes on Zion tonight, and UNCG wants some of the spotlight too. They're one of several teams on the bubble for the NCAA tournament, and the Spartans are making a strong case.
Oh yeah, the energy on campus is electric right now. WFMY News 2's Alma McCarty spoke to fans and the head coach tonight about what a bid would mean to the team.
That's right. For Wes Miller's team, last year's bid was in the bag. They won the SoCon tournament and took their first trip to the national tournament since 2002. But this year, that trip to the big dance isn't guaranteed.
A stellar season with the most wins in the history of UNC Greensboro's basketball program might have come to an end this week. They lost to Wofford in the SoCon tournament.
And we were so close and just couldn't get over the hump. And so I think we've been really down about that the last couple days, just the missed opportunity.
But head coach Wes Miller isn't dwelling on that. Instead, his team is looking ahead for a chance to play in the NCAA tournament.
We are in contention for an at-large bid in the first time in the history of this program. That's even a really unique thing for any mid-major program.
UNCG's spreading that message using everything from social media to billboards, showing their team deserves a bid.
So we really wanted to kind of use our outlets to get that message across.
Sometimes things like that feel so out of reach. I hope the committee kind of takes last year's entry into account.
The SoCon deserves a lot more credit. I feel like we definitely deserve a bid.
Miller says no matter what happens, the Spartans are gaining the recognition they deserve.
Whether or not we get selected on Sunday, we're in the national discussion, and that's because of the things that they've done this year throughout the season.
Well, it's definitely going to be a nerve-wracking couple of days before Selection Sunday. No doubt this team is still hungry for another chance to compete in the NCAA tournament.
Alma, thank you. And it's not just the team and the fans making a case for UNCG. The Spartans have the numbers to back it up.
Yeah, Luke, they've been posting their stats all over social media. So how do they stack up against the competition?
Yeah, I got to hand it to them. UNCG is definitely making a good case. So to put it simply, the NCAA tournament has 68 teams, 32 winners of conference tournaments, and 36 others it invites. So although the Spartans did lose in the conference final, they're hoping they can be the first ever team in the SoCon to get an at-large bid. So the numbers, they seem pretty convincing. And at that, the Spartans are just one of 10 teams in the entire NCAA with no bad losses. That basically means when they're supposed to win, they did exactly that, and not every team can say that. Only 10 actually in the entire country. Ohio State, they've effectively 4 bad losses, NC State 2, so you can really look at it 10, 15, 20 other ways, but it ultimately comes down to the NCAA committee and what they decide, and hopefully UNCG is on that list.
Well, they had a really great season, so we're hoping for their name called on Sunday.
Fingers crossed.
All right, thanks a lot, Luke. Congressman Mark Walker wants student athletes to be able to benefit from their fame. He introduced a bill today allowing student athletes to profit off their image, selling signed jerseys, photos, even signing deals with apparel companies. He says the athletes generate revenue for schools, so they should be able to protect their image. It's too early to tell whether it'll pass.
It was a gorgeous warm day today, but Tim, tomorrow we could see some storms.
Yeah, I really do think we got to pay attention tomorrow. I want you to be weather aware between 12 and 6. Here's why. Showing you this cold front out to the west brought some severe weather to places like Alabama and really a large line of the eastern United States. Just some showers tonight, no big deal. We'll stay mainly cloudy for tomorrow morning. And again, a shower is possible earlier in the day. That's not going to be a problem. But once we get afternoon, see right here, very scattered, isolated storms. But any storm that pops up tomorrow, it might have the potential to turn stronger, or even maybe a little bit on the severe side. We're talking about a damaging wind concern. That's what I'll be tracking for you tomorrow on radar. Have your phone alerts turned on, and we'll let you know if there's anything to worry about. We'll talk more about the storm details and about the cold weather headed our way next.
Developing now, police say several people are dead after shootings at 2 mosques in New Zealand. Police there say one person is in custody. They urged people nearby to stay inside as they responded. A witness says the gunman went from room to room shooting people for 20 minutes. A cricket team tweeted saying they were safe inside. The situation is still developing. We'll update our website and app with new information.
A somber night in Greensboro. Family, friends, and teammates all gathered at Page High School to remember Sincere Davis. They took to the field where Davis scored many touchdowns for the school's football team. The 18-year-old died in the hospital on Tuesday, about a week after he was shot. The search continues for the suspect. Meantime, we spoke to some of the people closest to him about his impact.
He's my best friend, man. Like, his personality light up a whole room. His smile, always making other people laugh. Great talker. Talk to anybody. Make everybody feel welcome.
Students plan to paint Davis's number 26 on the rock in front of the high school in his memory.
Guilford County Sheriff Danny Rogers is celebrating 100 days in office, but he says he's just getting started. WFMY News 2's Jessica Winters is breaking down his first moves and what's become his first big controversy.
I am blessed to have concluded my first 100 days.
Sheriff Danny Rogers is a man on a mission.
My mission as the sheriff of Guilford County is in progress.
He says he wants to bridge the gap between law enforcement and the community.
I've increased community outreach events by visiting over 8 schools. I've visited over 20 different businesses.
The sheriff says he's been out on patrols to better understand the problems on our streets and the daily trials his deputies face.
We're on patrol, we stop traffic violators, we go in on drug raids.
Simply stated, Sheriff Rogers says he'll continue to work hard.
My focus is to protect, to serve with integrity, honesty, and transparency.
Well, tonight he also responded to that back and forth, that war of words between himself and former Sheriff B.J. Barnes.
Absolutely, yes. Sheriff Rogers accused former Sheriff B.J. Barnes and his administration of destroying documents and also stealing computers. But an internal audit found that no malintent associated with the removal of computers. Tonight, the sheriff's office sent me a statement in response to the findings. It reads in part, The sheriff isn't accusing anyone of criminal activity. It is obvious, however, that there were several documents and records missing at the time the new staff took their positions. We don't have further information regarding the audit.
Some state lawmakers want to force sheriffs to cooperate with ICE. They introduced a bill today that would do it. Many counties refuse to work with ICE, including Guilford and Forsyth County. The bill sponsors say those sheriffs are putting politics ahead of public safety. If it becomes law, courts would be able to penalize counties that don't obey it. Last month, ICE detained more than 200 people across North Carolina. Nearly half of them were connected to criminal activity, according to authorities. At least 30 were in the triad.
The U.S. Senate voted to veto President Trump's emergency declaration. Initially, Senator Thom Tillis said he'd support the veto, but ended up voting to support the president. In a statement, he said, "My concerns were never about what President Trump is trying to accomplish, but rather with setting a precedent that a future president could bypass Congress." Tillis says he'll work with Vice President Pence on a new law to prevent future abuse of power. Senator Richard Burr also voted against the veto today. In a statement, he said, "I believe the president's efforts to secure our border are lawful and essential for the safety of our nation." The bill now heads to President Trump's desk. He's expected to veto it himself, but the House could override his decision.
Congressman Mark Walker wants to help a swim team from New York. They're set to compete in Greensboro next week, but they're banned from staying in our state, and it all goes back to HB 2. In 2016, New York's governor signed an order banning non-essential state-funded travel to North Carolina. That law was repealed, but that ban is still in place. So Walker says he'll pay for the athletes to stay in Greensboro. This way, they won't have to travel 2 hours from Virginia to the Greensboro Aquatic Center for the NCAA Championship swim meet.
You sent him your encouraging words and prayers, and he was certainly impacted by them. We told you last week that Jeopardy host Alex Trebek has stage 4 pancreatic cancer. He revealed the news in a very personal video.
He received an outpouring of support, and it was tremendous. And tonight, he responded with gratitude.
I am thankful for the kind words, the prayers, and the advice you have offered. And I'm extremely touched by the warmth you have expressed in your comments to me. I'm a lucky guy.
Trebek says he will continue to work. The 78-year-old has been the host of Jeopardy since 1984.
These moms are not messing around. They're shaming child predators online.
What law enforcement thinks about the vigilante group.